Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. I almost clicked the stop streaming button there for some reason. I don't know what the deal is with that. All right, well, good morning, everybody. It is Thursday. Some big news coming out already. Julian Assange was arrested this morning by British police as he was expelled from the Ecuadorian embassy. Also, Brexit has been extended. Boo. Oh, man. Is there anything about this? I can't believe they're extending Brexit. Where is this? I don't see anything about this yet. It sounds like that they're going to do it, though. This upsets me. Because... hold on. Let me search here. The EU echoed a familiar sound last night, the sound of a can being kicked down the road. The latest plan is that the EU will be cut off from the UK on Halloween. Markets, UK consumers, and the world in general really cannot be bothered to feign interest, says UBS. Retweeted by Zero Hedge. I just can't believe that they're going to extend this out another 6 months. Good freaking grief. It's just so silly. But anyways, I digress. Also, Bitcoin had a pretty, how do we say, overextended move yesterday up to 5,500. They met heavy resistance and have since fallen below 5,100. More selling perhaps to follow. I hope not for you guys on day life, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to be going lower. And hi, Jim B. Logic. How are you? So good morning. Oh, I see you also on YouTube. Sorry, sometimes I'm not always like right away 100% on the comments, but we're definitely here. All right, I'm definitely reading what you guys are saying. Also, a couple of good comments on the videos. I need to read those a little bit later. Anyways, the charts. Equities are up a little bit on, more, what do we say, hope that the U.S. and China will come to a trade deal. That still seems to be the thing that they care about the most. I think they've all kind of decided this whole Brexit thing is just dumb. That's probably the same thing as I have. But yes, you can see we're a little bit higher in the E-mini and a little bit lower than Treasuries. We really had a good move up yesterday. It looks like we're going to kind of try and hold this area like 21. All right. Well, we'll see, because today we have producer price index. Good stuff. So for producer price index, let me refresh this here. For the producer price index, we are looking for a reading of spot 3% versus a previous reading of spot 1%. And for the core PPI, this is the change in the price of finished goods and services sold by producers, excluding food and energy. We are looking for a reading of spot 2. Remember, yesterday in the CPI data, the regular CPI number outperformed and the core CPI number underperformed. And so we moved up. If that core number is higher, we could see significant selling. So stay on your toes, folks. And then we also have unemployment claims where we're looking for 210. Now, so pop over here. I'm going to just make sure I'm not missing anything. So the problem I'm having, here we go. I will show you here. So I have a restream chat, and this allows me to see all of the chats in one place. Very, very useful. I still have to come over to Discord to chat there, but yeah. But see, people say stuff on DLive, it doesn't show me. Right? So, yeah. So I have to like put stack them on top of each other in a way that I can see them all on this tiny monitor. I should probably just get another really big, 3K monitor. I don't know, guys. Problem is that if I got another really big 3K monitor, I'd probably just put the charts on it. So, I don't know. Well, we had a little push down there and return back to balance. And they're not pulling. Some of these news releases we've seen pulling 5 minutes before, but not this time. All right, let's type some things. JP Morgan reaching out to the 888 billion orders that did not get an Aramco allocation, asking if they'd like some more. Holy crap, folks. Aramco's 12 billion of bonds drop for a second day as enthusiasm fades. That's interesting. Oh, Kristen Gillibrand had a town hall. Too bad nobody cares about her. Too bad for her, at least. What else can I saw? I said saw. How did I get a W in there? Why say? All right. 3 minutes. Well, while we're waiting, let's go read these comments. Why are you screaming, bird? There is no reason to be doing that. Oh, you can hear children speaking. One minute. All right, let's get this all set up right again. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Slow move down there. I'm not seeing the number quite yet. Okay. Well, they're going right down through without me. Okay. Initial jobless claims 196 versus 210, so better than expected. I'm not so sure. Come on. Okay. PPI spot 6 versus spot 3. Core spot 3 versus spot 2. So there was some inflation. Oh my. Am I reading that right? Is that tweet correct? Let's come over here to Forex Factory and refresh. Spot 6 versus spot 3 and core spot 3 versus spot 2. I would expect the reaction to this to be more dramatic than it has been. I mean, that is clearly some inflation on the producers that we didn't see to the consumer, so they're eating it. And that could be evidence that the fears of a recession are maybe a little bit overblown, and that we're actually growing a little bit faster than we expected, and maybe the Federal Reserve does have to make an interest rate change later this year, or sooner than maybe the market is expecting. Well, it's not as strong as I expected, but they's going. Block sell at 20 is not staying offer. And we're getting a bit of a back and forth here in the 5-year at 16. I think I should reset my DOMs because of that. Okay. And I've got good liquidity behind me, so I think I can move my stop up. This person that commented on one of my videos, he like changed his comment 3 times or something, and so I can't see actually what he was saying. That's funny. I don't know if he, but I don't actually see all the comments. I only see the one. Okay. They're still hitting into 20. Not sure what to think of this. The E-mini didn't exactly have a super strong reaction either. The E-mini did kind of sell a little bit on it. That could be why they're reluctant to move. They both want to go down? I don't know. ECB's Villeroy, Eurozone economy is slowing down, but not in a recession. Clearly, we are determined to be as accommodative as needed for as long as necessary. Thanks. Oh, you have the wrong screen. Thank you. Boom. See, this is my ADHD, man. I'll change it and then completely forget what we're looking at. And since I don't keep the recording thing up all the way all the time, I miss some of it. Now they are including like restream in OBS, so maybe I can kind of have that open instead of restream chat, but I haven't looked into that yet. So that 20 is still acting tough until they hit it, and then it pulls. The 5-year did have a pretty good move down, you know. I think maybe we need a little bit of a pullback to be able to go any lower. Okay. The 5-year's still going back and forth at 15.75. Not really. We're getting flattening here. My oh my. Okay. Well, we're starting to see some of these like way down there. I think that I may try and hold for the long one today. Let's see. Where was the block sell? 19.5. 3,000 at 19.5. this could be a slow meltdown. Like it first of all, the news is clearly negative for bonds. That's inflation. That's negative for bonds. Um, Second of all, the trend from the news is clearly to the downside, and the volume is clearly to the downside. And we've seen several large sell orders hit those bids and try to push lower, but it's just not moving. And it's kind of giving you that, like, maybe you should just take your profit sort of a thing. And when you get that, sometimes the trade is so obvious that they have to make it slow, you know? Just a slow and steady trend where it goes back and forth a couple of times before finally pushing down a little bit lower. And the fact that we have all, 6K orders sitting there in the book all the way down to 15 is I think important. And you're seeing them in the 30-year as well, down at 19 and 16. Not so much in the 5-year, but yeah. And it's also interesting that they're hitting quite a bit into 20 again. Quite a bit at all of these prices, really. Now, that said, the initial reaction to the news was not that huge, which is a little weird. Good morning, K. Faragmo. What the hell happened last night, FOMO? Yeah. I tell you what, I've been looking at Bitcoin, just looks incredibly overbought to me, and my indicator. And I'm not saying like I'm looking at some chart indicator or how far it's come up, and I'm saying that for that reason it looks overbought. I'm looking at like numbers based on action on the blockchain compared to the price. It's overbought, incredibly overbought. And then they had this subtle little move. You see that it was like price really moved, but like the futures didn't really buy it. I don't think that that move was justified. So FOMO, yeah, but it was probably like a whale FOMO'd. You know what I mean? And that we are back below 5,100 or so, I think is an important an important failure. Because really, you've had so many people buy in. It's going to be very hard. Rafik 8, what is your price prediction at the short term? A whale FOMO, yeah. Well, anytime that I see a big move up like that, like a real trend in Bitcoin, you got to be immediately be thinking that it was maybe a whale. It was probably a whale that started this whole buying. Because I have, my indicator has been pretty reliable in the past, but then ever since the top, it's still been good, and I've still been trading and making money from it, in fact, but they seem to, stay overbought more than they have in the past. So it's like there are new players in the market that don't quite understand when to buy and keep buying it at the wrong spot. And that's why it just keeps going down, because it's like when you have a bubble, think back to Mt. Gox, right? When you have a bubble, there's really nothing to support Bitcoin, really, until you get down to like the raw people using the blockchain, like people actually using it. And because actual use of the blockchain has gone down because they won't increase the block size, theoretically, Bitcoin should be worth less. And anytime that we get down to some level that it seems like maybe, hey, maybe this could be a bottom, you see all of these people bottom fishing. They buy it, and then they're not able to get anything, and so they sell and it goes lower. Last time around, they bought it at 6,000 and they held it for, man, almost 9 months, I think, before they finally gave up. The next bubble, 50 to 100K. Maybe. It depends on how much use the blockchain has, right? I'm really concerned that the next bubble that we come into, and again, we need to see like a crescendo sell event, which typically would come in the next wave down. So I'll see what happens, but I'm thinking that after the next down is when I'm going to buy back in. Yeah, but if use is still less, you could see a situation where there's another bubble and they don't get very far, which would really, really hurt confidence. But you could also see a flipping at that point too, right? Would not be unreasonable to say that, man, I mean, they're just really selling this, even though it's super slow. So I'm glad I've held on as long as I have. See what they do at 18. Anyways, I need to go to CoinMarketCap because I'm just like, these kids are all up way too early. XRP. I would not be surprised to see XRP, try and make a run at a flipping, or Bitcoin Cash, frankly. Because those are starting to get a lot of use. I know that's not like the most popular thing to say, but that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. But anyways, my prediction for price short term. Well, first of all, I would not recommend trading Bitcoin at this particular juncture. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm just warning you, this thing is like a real monster right now. And honestly, most of the price movement that you're seeing in Bitcoin is just whales buying and selling. And if you're chasing those whales, it's just likely that one of the whales is going to go against you, and there's really nothing that you can do to predict it. So at this particular juncture, I would avoid it. But the indicator says that at some point, we're probably going to have a bit of a failure here, and we may move down to as low as 1,500. Now, when we get down to there, we may get a buy. Let's see. Some more upside, I believe. Well, my indicator is just basing it off of value and when historically Bitcoin sells. If we get up to a high level and some big whale decides that they're going to buy it anyways, then it can go up and, counter to the indicator as reliable as it has been. I think in the long run, it would be better if everybody had access to the valuation indicator, because then you would get a little bit less of this kind of thing. But it is what it is. I try and share it. I post it every day on Patreon. And the subscribers get to see it that day, and then the public can see it a week later. And I've been trying to spread the gospel, and we have a really reliable base of subscribers. Like we've been having, over a dozen people, I think, for over a year now, a year and a half. They've stuck with us, so it's definitely useful and works. But the indicator also says something that the larger Bitcoin community doesn't believe, which is that use matters. They think that it's just a store of value, and if we just put it in there and never sell, that it will go up, and it doesn't work that way. So there's a lot of skepticism out there because of that. I don't know. It's so annoying trying to figure out the pattern to go against the grain. Yeah, it really is. And that's why it's just like in Bitcoin, like to me, when my indicator gives us signals like that's like, okay, hey, when it gives a buy, I don't know if Bitcoin is going to go and make a new all-time high or if it's going to like become completely useless. Like those are both possibilities. All I know is that the risk reward that you have based on value is so good that it's worth taking a shot at that point. And we did take a shortly after the crash. It came down to 6,000 and I bought it at 6,000. And then I waited for the indicator to say that it was overbought and sold it at 10,000 and made a decent profit off of that, right? And then I was hoping to sell it, but I couldn't find anywhere that would give me margin and allowed me to trade in the US. And because I'm a semi-public person, I figured it was probably not a good idea to just use a VPN and trade on a European exchange. So wasn't able to take advantage of that. And now I've just kind of been waiting like, they're going to sell it. They're going to sell it. And then they do, but it's just like they take forever. And then there's my shit coins. So maybe we'll get a good pop on a good shit coin next bubble. Okay, well, we came back there pretty aggressively back to 19.5, but then they sold it back down again. This move does not look done to me, but we'll see. Might have to hold this. I mean, that was a wave down. I think there's probably going to be another one. I mean, I don't understand why they would move down to 18 and then stop. I think that they should probably go and visit Tuesday's lows, like at 13. Well, I don't see anything at 13, but I do see stuff at 15. So this would be, well, we could be in for a pullback here. It might really make me, or might really mess with me. So gotta hold to it, I guess. These ones are hard to trade. USD JPY moves higher into a cluster of technical levels. Yes, well, they're moving down overall today. But if you look at the chart here, I'll pull it up. JPY is at some critical support down here, so that's going to make it hard to move. Take a picture of that. Hello, Matthew26. How are you? I really like the cool thing about DLive I've noticed so far is that it's just it's a good platform to be discovered on. I think I've always had a good audience on YouTube because I restream it everywhere, right? I've always had a good number of people on YouTube. By the way, I'm not seeing comments on YouTube. Are they? I'm just not seeing them. And that might not be the case. I don't know. Have a good number of people watching on YouTube today too. But you know, it's usually, I usually get like the same 12 people every day on YouTube. But on DLive, I see new people, you know, all the time. And on Twitch, nobody ever comes in. But I think we'll get more on DLive because we can talk about cryptocurrencies, right? So that'd be good. Okay, so they did tick up 2 ticks there. We'll see what happens. I'm still treating this as like a pullback because it's so hard for me to determine where it's going to stop. I would like to just kind of be hands off. It's the sunglasses. I like it. Man, I mean, I wonder where, like if we have four people, four people watching, I wonder where that puts you on the, um, I don't want to call it the leaderboards, but like when people are browsing for new channels. Also, like supposedly you guys get, Lino coins for interacting, right? So that's cool too. But I don't know exactly how that works yet. Like, is it like you go and you comment and it says, hey, you got one Lino coin? Oh, no, wait. You don't get it until afterwards, right? You don't get it until afterwards, and then it calculates the activity and gives you an amount based on comparative activity, right? See, they're still buying it up. It's actually the cumulative delta. Can you see that? The cumulative delta is up. You know, I should have my pen out. This is weird. It was a kind of a weird, super slow moving day. Use the highlighter and make sure it's yellow. Okay, so see this little move right here? So there is some upward sloping cumulative delta. You can see it in the 5-year, the 5-year and the 30-year. But it's still, the absorption is still negative. So we're seeing evidence of a very passive move. So if that is correct, what you might see is a little bounce here and then a move lower again. That is as before, very, very slow. Now, the counter to that is that the E-mini right here is down overall since the news. So they're going to kind of fight with each other, and that'll make it harder for us to move down. See, so they come almost all the way back to our entry price. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. Why has trading stopped? What do you mean? Sorry, hold on a second. I think it goes up regardless of anything. Talking about earning Lino. You're going to need to do a lot of reading. It's hard because most of the, when I'm at work, because I only trade for like 2 hours, right? When I'm at work, a lot of those websites are like blocked. So I have to like read it on my phone if I want to read about it. And I've just been, getting home and I haven't been doing anything. Like past weeks, I would get home and play like Apex Legends or whatever. But yesterday I got home and I just relaxed. Didn't really do anything. Price has stopped on Coinbase and all other exchanges. Really? Let's see here. I mean, I'm not seeing anything on the futures exchange that says that. Let's see here. I'm gonna have to. Haven't logged into Coinbase in a long time. Haven't played that game yet. How is Apex? Well, so the thing that's really cool about Apex is that they've taken your standard, what do you say? Like your standard Call of Duty style gameplay where, like you aim down the sights and everything like that. And they've combined it with fast movement. And so it's very much an arcadey type of a game. And then they've streamlined all of the loot and everything like that. So if you like any kind of battle royale game, then you'll really, really like this game. And if you don't really like battle royale games, but you're still kind of more into the arcade kind of games, then you'll like it too. So I was an Unreal Tournament players. I was an Unreal Tournament player, so that's, yeah, like Borderlands is kind of like that. Okay, so hold on, I just want to check here. So when I go to CryptoWatch, oh yeah, he linked me to that. Okay, if I go to Coinbase Pro here and I open up their, where is it? Yeah, no, you're right. I'm not seeing any orders come through. Not on CryptoWatch. That could just be CryptoWatch though. They might just be down. How about, let's try a couple of different ones. Explore markets, Bittrex, Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm seeing orders coming through on Bittrex. So it might be a problem with CryptoWatch. Anyways, let me come back over to here. All right, so futures. How does futures work? So the way that futures work is it's a contract. So in order to enter into a contract, you have to have two parties, right? So one person buys and one person sells. And then the contract is to deliver a particular good, in our instance, treasuries with a certain maturity date. Even TradingView, that's really weird. When I go to Bittrex, I can see it. So I don't know what the deal is. Anyways, when the settlement date comes, then the person that sold has to provide a treasury with the contract specifications to the buyer. And that's the way that a future works. And so we're basically trading a contract that's supposed to end in June, essentially. This one, is June, right? Yeah. This is the one that starting June, you can get called up, which means that then you would have to give somebody a treasury or close the position. So you don't want to get called if you're scalping, right? So when June comes, then we switch to the next contract. All right. So now that's kind of like the complicated side of it, but to us scalpers, it doesn't matter too much other than trying to understand the business, right? Like who the big people, why do they buy and sell these? Well, because they're trading to buy or sell contracts in June. All right. So you can see here on the DOM, the way this works is this red column are people that are offering out to sell at a specific price. And this blue column are people that are bidding to buy at a specific price. And then these two middle columns are market orders that have hit into those bids and offers. So you can see right now 131 people have sold into the bid and 51 people have bought into the offer. And that's how that works. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to look at the imbalance between these four columns, essentially. These are the forces, right? Think of it as like buy side supply, buy side demand. Oh, this one right here, buy side demand, sell side demand, sell side supply. So what do we have going on right now? Well, there is a lot of buy side supply below us at 18, 16, 15. And that may be because those guys are already short and they're looking to take profits at those spots. That is very often the case. And as of late, when you've seen targets like that, they tend to go towards them. But that's not always the case. But that's kind of the situation that we're looking at. But then we can see here on this chart, this line here, this is all of the market buys versus all the market sells. So over the past 15, 20 minutes or so, there have been more market buys than there have been market sells. But overall, the market is very slow, let's say. And so that's kind of the order flow component. And I can even see here, like another thing that we want to watch for is, say there's an offer of 1532 right here, right? Or 948 now. Okay. If 900 buy orders hit that, then theoretically we should tick up and people will put bids at 20.5. But what you may see is that just more people stack on the offer, and that we call that iceberging. Often it's one person. Okay, so that time they traded actually quite a bit more than 900, but they did tick up and they held a bid, and it's a pretty strong bid too. It was 2,500. Okay, but it pulled a little bit. Anyways, that's kind of the order flow game that we're looking at, is to see which of these forces are like more influential, right? And then we kind of look at price action. So like one of the things that I'm really noticing is that it's been kind of a slow creeper. We had a slow move down and we had a slow move up. But when we moved down, like there was pretty good volume. You can see here, there was pretty good volume. But on this move up, interest in this has really died down. So it doesn't appear to me that the market is really that interested in buying this today. So I'm holding this on the theory that we could move down again. But we'll see. I might be just like dead wrong and just kind of come out today with, kind of not much to show for it. But sometimes that happens. We've been doing really good lately, and this is kind of the area where we tend to see markets slow down, like the time of year. Okay, so there's some buying there in the E-mini. That's curious. And I see our friend Ace says that he went long 28.97.25. Yeah, no problem. So this is kind of like a really great example, though, of like why. Well, once you've seen all of that, right? Because I think to most people that's like a completely different world to say like, oh, you can actually look at people buying and selling at one price and seeing if they're using market orders or limit orders to see if there's a probability of, a particular price holding, right? Well, once you know that that's possible, why would you try and scalp on anything else where you don't have that information, right? And yet that's like most people that are trading stocks don't have that information. Forex, you don't get that information. Cryptocurrencies, you do, but when you look at it in cryptocurrencies, then you realize, oh, okay, the amount of volume that can come into a cryptocurrency. If you really watch the DOM, the amount that they put on the DOM is like minuscule in comparison to the amount of market orders that can come in at any time. Donated 1 lemon. Thank you very much. How does that work? I need to, well, we can see. Oh, you can just click it right there. I really need to look into it a lot more. I think that I need to, this weekend on Friday, I need to watch a couple of people's streams and try it myself, try the commenting and stuff to see what it tells me. And earn some Lino coin. Anyways, when the market volume that can come in is so much more than what is actually on the DOM, then it's like, well, how would you know where any spot would hold, right? So usually when that happens to us in treasuries, like around a news event, we're a little bit more careful, right? We'll only go with momentum. And of course, that's what you see in Bitcoin is everybody waits for a whale to do something and then they all just kind of buy it on the, on the hopes that it continues on. Julian charged in computer hacking conspiracy. The indictment is below. Okay. Interesting. How much can you lose in trading treasuries, like trading what I'm trading right now? Well, I'll just tell you right here. So there, you see this column right here that's got the blue and red numbers. That is my profit and loss. Normally that's where the order is. So you can see here, it tells me I have a stop at 1200 and I have a profit way down here at 15. Yep. Okay. So right now, if I took it off at 20, I'd make 31.25, right? So I could hit into that offer right there at 20 and make 31.25, right? It's like 15. It's basically $15 per tick, right? So of course it depends on where you put your stop at, right? Right now I have my stop at 21.5. Now, mine is a volume stop. Some people will have a stop that's just like, if anything hits it, it'll stop. Mine is, there has to be less than 1,200 people on the offer for me to buy. Okay. But what can happen is, okay, there's less than 1,200 people on the offer, so my stop is going to get hit. But before my stop hits, all of those 1,200 contracts are bought. Then my stop order would buy at 22. So we call that slippage. And in treasuries, you're usually not going to get slippage of more than a tick unless it's like a big news event, right? So realistically, in this particular situation that we're looking at right now, I'm not going to lose more than 31.25. And my average loss is 3 ticks essentially. Yeah. Ace Trade says, on the E-mini, I usually lost 37.50 per contract. I keep a tight stop. Yes, he keeps it very, very tight. I like the 2 tick stop just because it's either going to go my way or not. Yeah. I've been doing it in the E-mini with 8 tick stop, but man, sometimes it's not enough. It's like, clearly to do what Ace does, he's a much better trader than me in the E-mini for sure. You really got to know that you've got the right spot to be taking the stop that tight, and I really don't. You're like Neo with the vision. See into the matrix. We can see all of the numbers and what it says. Yeah, well, so the other thing, I actually kind of have it hidden because I just don't have enough screens to get base. But if I get rid of like my head here, here you can see. Oh, by the way, I need to. What's with that? I need to fix that. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, that shows us the actual orders coming through. So I can see here. Okay, for a while now. Basically, since we touched 20, they've been buying it. The big orders, these ones are filtered out to big orders. And here you can see, here's the little guys. Okay. A couple of scalpers just sold in there. Interesting, right? But it's not like super important information, so I usually just cover it up. So how much can you make on an average day? So it depends on the time of year, right? So I would say that if you're a reasonably good trader and you're consistent, you can reasonably make 4 ticks a day in treasuries. And on the E-mini, like 8 to 16 is pretty typical. So, here in treasuries, $62 a day, it adds up in the long run. It really does. Now, yesterday, I took a trade in the E-mini and the ZN. I took it on Sim, though, because of the time of year is not very good for me. But yesterday on Sim, I think I was down 100 at one point, and then I ended up 150, I think. If I wasn't in this dog of a trade, I would go short right here. I'm not really sure what the E-mini is doing. It seems to me like that treasuries seem to only care about the E-mini right now. Because, I mean, the inflation was high. We did move down, and then they just stopped. And since then, they've been like, oh, we don't care. And it's come back far enough that you have to wonder if this is, if it's 4 ticks, that can just be a pullback, but more than 4 ticks is usually not a pullback. Yeah. Anyways, so you when you could get a move like in Treasuries, like a really good move can be like 16 ticks. I've taken 24 ones. I've seen ones that are 32, but I wasn't able to catch the whole thing. So that's like $100, $250, $500 a contract. Right. And you also have to realize that we're trading on margin. So it requires $500 in margin to trade one contract, right? So realistically, if you had a $5,000 account, you could trade 10 contracts if you wanted to. Now, that would not necessarily be very wise, because then if we had one of those big 16 tick moves and you took a loss, then your account would be destroyed. Right. So we try and trade a much smaller portion of our account. But you can see it doesn't take a ton of money to start scaling up, right? And now all of a sudden you're talking about $1,000 a day, right? I think when you take a look at like what Ace does, if you're taking two contracts and you're making 2 points, that's like $400, right? Wait, what? Oh, I think for Ogmo, you might be confused because I'm reading some of the comments on YouTube too. Yeah. To make it even more fun, I'm leaving to make French toast in a couple minutes. Yeah. I don't know what this is. This is kind of weird market action. Wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea to leave unless... it seems to me like we're not getting like super strong moves right now. It's been an hour and Bitcoin has not moved on price. Something is wrong on my trading plate form. Nothing has moved on price. I'm on 2 exchanges here in Australia. It does, well, so like I said, if I go to Bittrex, you can go and explore Bittrex and you can see, let me pull it up here again. Here's Bittrex. I'll pull it over here so you can see. Just explore markets. Okay, Bitcoin. So right now we're at 5,061. Looks like we got a little bit of a tick down there in the 5-year, by the way. And here you can see the level 2 changing and the orders coming through and stuff. See? It just changed. Oh, it changed again. So it's slow. The market is slow right now, but they are doing stuff. One more time, I think I missed something. I don't know what I was talking about now. I'm a little ADHD, so I might jump around. But I was reading some of the comments on YouTube. So I might have been responding to something that somebody said. Oh, wrong. So I need recommendations for market profile software. What are you using right now, Wrong? So on NinjaTrader, of course, NinjaTrader, if you buy their license and to trade live with NinjaTrader, generally you have to have the license. Okay, so if you have the license, they have market profile built in, right? But if you don't, and you just take the free one, then you can, there's tons of free indicators out there that do fault volume profile. And I'm using the one that I found on the futures.io website. That's the one that I use. It doesn't have to be totally complicated or anything. These trades, nobody said 2 contracts, just for the record. Yes, but we know that you're trading more than 1 contract because you take profits on half at some spot. That's the only reason why I said that. The platform that I'm using is Jigsaw. So if you want to trade off of the DOM, then Jigsaw is really the best. They have the best DOM. You're ADHD too. So if you are ADHD, you got to be careful with trading, okay? So here's the two places. There's a couple of comments here I got queued up here. I'm going to cover all of you, all right? So the two problems that you have with ADHD are, one, look, we've been in this trade now for how long? 40 minutes, you know? It requires patience and self-control, which are two things that for us with ADHD don't necessarily come naturally, right? So it's going to take a lot of work. And if you've been prescribed medications, you're going to want to probably take your medication, because you will have much stronger self-control if you're on Adderall or whatever it is, right? I've lost heaps. Yeah. So then number two thing is that buying and selling and clicking and stuff creates dopamine, which, people with ADHD tend to be norepinephrine and dopamine deprived. And so people with ADHD tend to really like it, even if they're doing poorly. So it's a little bit addictive, and you have to keep that in mind and learn to recognize what you're feeling, which is also regulating and realizing what your emotions are in the moment is really hard. So it's kind of interesting. But the advantage is that when you're ADHD, you get a really good picture, like full picture, and you get to see all sorts of things that a lot of people miss. I've noticed. The meds don't do anything to me? No? Well, if the meds don't do anything, that's usually like a good, like you shouldn't feel significantly different. But I think you might find if you do that, like keep your performance. That's what I did. Like I can look at the Jigsaw and I could see the days when because I'm on Straterra, so I'm kind of like always on it all the time anyways, but then it's not quite enough to keep me like motivated and focused. So I take like the Adderall once a day, and I just tested it, and the days that I took it versus the days that I didn't, I did a lot better on the days that I took it. So yeah. Oh, okay. Smash the Bid gave him a thing for TradeStation. See, I'm not too familiar with TradeStation, so I don't know what's a good DOM. Yeah. Okay, so Faragama was saying I'm going to throw everything into Stellar. I have to say, I've been really impressed with Stellar because of the partnership that they have with IBM. So, if it was me, I would try and diversify amongst a couple of different coins. And the reason is that there's this interaction between like Bitcoin and the altcoins where, Bitcoin will go, like an altcoin will go up, and then they will transfer their profits to Bitcoin, and then it will go down. And so when you have a move up in one particular currency, you want to be able to take some profit so that you can move it to cash and then move it back in when it's come back. So I would probably look for a couple of them. The ones that I'm most interested in are going to be like, I like Stellar, I like Bitcoin Cash. I think that I have to do XRP, even though I don't necessarily like them. But there's some undeniably positive price action that you can catch in XRP, right? And then I kind of like the KU coin, but we'll see where they're at if we ever get down to a spot. And so who's Jongal said, I'm on Adderall for HDD. ADD couldn't handle Straterra. Well, I tell you what, there's like a tiration period where you have to get used to Straterra for about a month. And that was the most miserable month of my life. Holy crap. I totally get you. It sucked. But for me and the particular type of ADHD that I have and everything, because I'm much more norepinephrine deficient. Yeah, it would definitely work for me in the long run. But yeah, I know a lot of people that try to do it, and it sucks. When you were at Goldman, did they use the TT platform? No, they didn't. I think maybe there might be some traders that you could like request a specific tool if you really wanted it, and you would get it. But they were using Ready. It was an internally created tool, Ready, REDI, and that was eventually spun off. And Ready is very similar to Trader Technologies. Very, very similar. But it's designed for like a hedge fund, you know. A lot of the features that were in Ready that you maybe don't see in retail software was like macros and stuff. So like you could hold a control key and perform a bunch of actions at once, like pull some orders off and then buy some here and add some orders on here, and it wouldn't send them until you let go of the control buttons so that you could, you know, do certain things like that. And you could go in and modify an order and say, I want this to be a refreshing order, that sort of a thing. Can't we just transfer to USDT to store the value? Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that you want to have more of them so that you can take advantage of those things, right? Because if you're only in one, then sure, that happens, and then you take it off during that time period. When you have it off, that money is sitting in cash and you can't do anything with it, right? If you have multiple coins, then you can transfer it between them and rebalance your portfolio. So if you do this sort of a thing where it's like you have 4 coins, and then anytime that you have a big run up in one of them, you rebalance your portfolio, it can significantly increase your alpha that you get from the crypto market. That makes sense. I don't care for the side effects. I like Adderall. Who wouldn't? I don't know. It's different for other people. It doesn't do anything for me. Like the whole like positive feelings, and then some people get a high from it. Usually if you get like a high from it, then it's not for you, or you don't have very severe ADHD. Man, it ticked up again. I'm surprised. But for me, it really doesn't do anything. And in fact, I would not notice it. Like if somebody gave it to me and I didn't know, I probably would not notice. Yeah, I get tired. I get tired too. I cannot sit in meetings. Oh my gosh, if you put me in a meeting in the afternoon, I'm almost guaranteed to fall asleep. Okay, they're fighting over the iPad, and I think the wife has already left. She's working early today. Henry Nasser, I'm like that. It makes no difference. Yeah. And then the split side of Adderall is the afterwards, right? Like, I could not do just the Adderall because in order to get enough for it to help me, when it ended, it was like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, part of it was the time. So at the time I was really into this one particular girl, and it was going really, really well. But then she was going through a hard time in her life. It was not her fault or anything. And she's not a very, who we say, she's kind of one of those people that like, she'll forget to text message you and stuff like that. Right. That's just the way she is. And she does it to everybody, but, you know, it was going really well. And then, you know, just kind of, she lost interest, I guess. She was going through a hard time. And so she needed to deal with her emotional issues, and I was kind of, you know, fell out of the picture. So part of it was that, But man, when I was trying the Adderall, I was so miserable when I come off. It was like I was in deep, deep depression at 4 o'clock every day, and I just could not handle it. And that's when I talked to the doctor, and he put me on this Strattera. Okay, may have to just so I do like that I'm right here. I think I'm willing to give it that much. So the E-mini is going back and forth here and being really volatile. They're definitely trading it based on the E-mini though. That was a really long 30 minutes that we just spent there. They really sold it too. They really sold it, but it did not go down. Oh wow, I didn't feel that on Adderall. Yeah, it's like you're getting like this good hit of dopamine and then all of a sudden it's just gone. It really sucked. Don't you stop so it's hard to catch everything else while you don't spread out. I try to get the maximum gain. I guess I gotta change the habit. I take a small amount of Colipin to deal with anxiety from coming down, not so much anymore. I'm not familiar with that particular one, but yeah, there's a lot of things that you could do. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea to try it again, but this works really well for me. So, and at first the Strattera was like really weird, but after being on it for a really long time and like when your body finally balances out, then all of the negative effects of Strattera are almost completely gone. Kudlow on China trade deal. We've made good progress, but I can't say the deal is done. Well, we had a little push down and they looked like maybe they were going to go down to the low, but then we've had this push up and they did make it a slight tick higher. I think that we may get a pullback and push back down. If I don't get it to run the next set of selling, then I'm going to have to take a profit on it, unfortunately. And I'll have to say, well, I should have taken the +5. Oh well. So in the E-mini, I am seeing a lot of selling and they're not breaking yet. Oh, I'm sorry for you guys on YouTube because there's like a little bit of a delay, like a 5-second delay, but then for the comment you get from YouTube to restream, it's another little delay, so I'm a little bit behind you guys. I hate people that don't text back. Yeah, so like one time, so the thing that was funny about that girl was that we would text every day. It was like we had a date, and I'm like, okay, so is everything going on? And she was like new to the whole like Tinder thing because I met her on Tinder, and I was like, well, so wait, hold on, what's going on here? Let's work this out. And so then she was like, oh, okay, you know what? I'll just text you every day at this particular time. So that was what happened. So we text every time. But if it wasn't beyond that, you didn't know what she was going to do. And she was always complaining to like her family, or they're apologizing for not getting back to them on stuff. And so like on the second or third date that I had with her, I was like, what is this on your phone? And I went through, and she had an Android phone, but she didn't know how to like go into the Android phone and like clear the notifications, so she had like 200 notifications on her phone. And I was like, well, no freaking wonder that you don't know anything. You never clear your notifications. She was a funny girl. But no, probably to the girl that I ended up marrying is a very what's the proper usage? The personality trait neuroticism, right? I would think that I'm probably a little bit above average on neuroticism, But my wife just scores so low on neuroticism. She's just like the most stable, even-tempered person you're ever going to meet. And that's worked really, really well. Especially if you're trading, and we're saying, oh, I'm going to put, however, a couple $1,000 into trading and we might just completely lose it. Instagram just followed. How did you get that name, man? I love the GIF though. But man, a lot of people can't handle that. And for her, it's like no big deal. I remember one of the things that really made me go like, okay, maybe I really do need to take this girl seriously was we were dating, and that was when I left Goldman Sachs. And I wanted to work there for a long time. It was a good thing that I left. Okay, they did finally break lower. I thought that I was just going to work there forever and ever, but it was a good thing that I eventually had to leave. But the whole department just got gutted. Basically, they decided that they didn't want to have that department in Salt Lake anymore, right? And it was actually quite easy to find another job, but I wasn't really sure what was going to happen, because it was like, to me, it was like, okay, clearly this is not going to work out the way that I thought. And it was no problem for her. She was like, oh, this is good. You can find another job and you're probably going to make more money. And like this is like really, really good. And she was like really positive and like super confident in me. It was just, she has a very stable personality like that. And that was when I was like, okay, this is a really good attribute that is not normal. Feds Williams, from a pure monetary policy perspective, this is a healthy economy. And Kudlow's talking about the Federal Bank too. The Fed is an independent central bank, and we aim to keep it that way, but that doesn't mean we can't express our opinions. Says he wouldn't mind seeing a 50 basis point cut. And I don't know. The whole 50 basis point cut thing is a little bit too much for me. I think that they shouldn't have increased in December, but now that you've done it, just let the market adjust. And then if we really do start to see some weakness, then you can cut. But right now, I think that if you cut, I think it would cause a little bit too much chaos in the market. It would be really positive for stocks, sure, but I think they're a little short-sighted. Yeah. I get a lot of tweet notifications from Trump. That's funny. On your phone? You have it set up for on your phone. Man. Well, there was a pretty good sell, and they made a little bit of a push, and now it's already reversing around. So it's still unclear in the E-mini what it's going to do, and Treasuries are still just kind of sitting at what was the overnight low. And I think that I kind of just have to sit here and see what happens. Usually when I've been in a trade for longer than 30 minutes, it usually doesn't work out for me. But we'll see. I kind of expected to be in it for a long time, but I didn't expect it to come back this far. So what is your opinion on Bitcoin price? It's too high, frankly. When we were at 4,000, I thought it was too high. And now coming up here to 5,000, you're very quickly getting up into levels that make a large scale crash like we saw at the top very, very likely. So it's hard to time this sort of a thing in Bitcoin, and especially when you're going short because of the way that you have to do it in Bitcoin, it's very, very dangerous to go short. But I think that we're at a spot where it's not unreasonable to be trying to take shorts. And if we had another push up past above 5,500, then I would definitely short it, because then we have resistance from 6,000 to deal with. And that's mostly just short term, right? The other thing you got to keep in mind is that when we have a really big buy, there's always a really big sell afterwards, right? Like people take profits and it comes back down. So I'm not a financial advisor, of course. And right now I have some money that I play with cryptocurrencies with that is sitting in cash right now. And I'm waiting for the next big sell to see where we're at. But if you want to see more about that, click the link in the video description for my Patreon page. And I have a chart that I post every day. I liked that downtick. I have a chart that I post every day that shows how I calculate value. And I think when you look at that chart and look at what it does when my indicator is at 50 and what it does at 150, 200, and I think you'll be impressed. It's very rare to see something that is that well correlated. And we've been future, like we've been trading with it for a year now, and it's worked really, really well for us. So that's the reason why I say it's overbought. If we move down based on current blockchain activity, you're probably going to get like 1500. That's literally how low the next wash could be. But, it could take a long time. And activity on the blockchain has increased a little bit. So that could help support price a little bit too. BTC need huge volume to go up. Yeah, well, like the whole thing is you got to think of it as like the only reason people buy Bitcoin is because they think it's going to go up, right? You've just had a pretty big bear market. A lot of people got burned. In order for Bitcoin to continue moving up, there has to be a reason for new people to get interested in Bitcoin. And I think that what has happened is because you're not seeing the transactions go out to the blockchain, that means that like they're buying it and they're just leaving it on the exchange. So you just have a bunch of people long that are eventually going to sell when its price starts going against them. And now that we've tested 5K, if we get an impulse below 5K, I think you could see a really strong sell. So anyways, I know that's super long-winded. You can go back to like my first live streams, like the day that Bitcoin futures went live, and I was saying pretty similar thing, and like it really turned out. But it's always like, I don't know 100% what's going to happen, and one guy trading against us can totally screw up the whole trade, right? But generally speaking, that's what's going to happen just based off of where we're at compared to value. Okay, so Farango asked, can you tell me anything about claiming losses on your taxes? Well, yes. It's pretty simple. Is your broker will give you a statement. I forget what the name of the form is, but they'll give you a statement telling you what your profit loss was for the year. And if it's a loss, then that loss goes against your income. So if you lost $1,000, then you take $1,000 loss on your taxes. Now, if you lost a lot more than that, and I don't have a huge account, right? Today I'm trading, this is sim, just to let you know, because I'm not, my best time period for trading treasuries is between September and March. We're kind of outside of my best time, so this is a little more practice right now. Okay. But if you lost more than that, and it's more that you're only allowed to deduct a certain amount, then you can carry over those losses. I don't remember what the amount is. It's like $10,000 or something like that. So you can carry that over 8 years if you need to. But then if you make like $1,000, then the next year, then it's like you carry out that $4,000 loss, but then you still have to take the 1,000. So then I think it's 3,000. Couldn't be too sure about that one because I don't have any experience about it, but yeah. And I don't know what the number is. Say you lost 30K. Yeah. See, I'd have to like look it up look it up in TurboTax. I'd have to go into TurboTax and enter it in. Well, we got some downticks, but I don't know. The E-mini is starting to look positive to me. I'm actually kind of thinking about buying the E-mini. I don't know. I don't know if I really want to mess with ES today. It'd be really hard for me to find a good spot here in this action. Oh, by the way, thanks Open Mind for the follow. A couple of people following me today. I don't know if I'm completely up on all of it, but I really appreciate it. And I really like how, you know, the people that have been coming in through DLive. So thank you. Went to 49.80 today. Yeah. Like I think that this sell that you saw this morning in Bitcoin could end up being really significant. You know, if I'm just gonna duplicate this in a new tab here and change it to like a 1-day chart. Let's see if it'll show me here. I guess I should do something like I don't really need tick replay. And I don't really need the indicators, so I'll just remove the indicators. Okay. So you can see, well, and that's not a very good time frame. Let's do 30 minutes. Okay. So, oh man. Oh, it's only showing me, oh, I need to change this. I need to change this to be like 180 days. Okay. We are getting some selling now. Okay. So here you can see here was the buy. And then here was another impulse. Okay. Everybody that has bought in the past 5 days or so is now at a loss. Right? That matters. Because that's more people that are going to sell. And then when you get down to here, then it really starts to get ugly, right? Keep up the good work. Thanks. Well, I don't know if today has been like a super... So I'm seeing this iceberg here at 20. And I'm thinking maybe I'm just be done with this because it's been way too long. And this is maybe a potential support area, and it looks like they're kind of trying to hold it. Well, the E-mini still looks really positive to me. Let's see. This has been a really excruciating trade for me. If I wasn't getting so many extra questions from you guys on DLive today, I would be like pulling my hair out. I haven't had a whole lot of information in Discord. Oh, although Peter says some long ZB here. Okay, so there are some historically significant reasons for people to be going long, because that's the kind of trade that he takes. Yeah, I have the link to the Discord in the description too. So if you have like, you know, like you're seeing some price movement, and we have it separated out by futures instrument. But, you know, if you're trading in treasuries and you see something significant, you can go and post it in there. And that's kind of more for the serious conversation, whereas the YouTube and DLive chat is kind of more just light chat to keep ourselves occupied while this thing just does nothing. Well, see, the E-mini has recovered in cumulative delta and price, and they're close enough to that high. I think they might go for it. So I wonder if somebody decided that they were going to go short and they didn't get it and they had to unwind it, you know? And that's just why it's taken so long. Okay, so it's definitely going to go for the high now. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, so they got through the iceberg. One offer. Not quite staying. Now it's staying. Okay, I like that. That's good. Here comes the new high in the E-mini, most likely. And they're fighting it a little bit just below the high. It wouldn't be the overnight high. It's just the regular session high too. So probably should keep that in mind. The overnight high is way up there at 28.99, 70 or 2,900. 2,900. It looks like turning risk on. Post this picture. There we go. Does taking a one tick loss because I can't wait for the trade to develop due to having to rush to the bathroom count really as a loss, Lucas? I mean, I mean, for the purposes of stats, you're gonna have to put it in there the way that it is. But you can step away. I mean, we do that. Well, I think that high is super likely, but they're not. You know, they didn't just go for it right away. They've pulled back already. So it could still go through. Course just followed. Thank you for the follow. And Bitcoin Ninja, thank you. Oh, how many followers have we had today? What does that put us at? Oh, I don't know where it says that. Apparently we have 0.9 of a Lino coin though. That's cool. Ah, 6. So thank you. Yeah, I had to reload it for it to show me the followers, but it says 6. Something that I kind of like about this is that you can go in and you can see who is following, so you can go back and follow them. Probably tonight when I come back, I'll come back and I'll look at your guys' channel, and as long as you're not like crazy people or robots, I'll follow you back. Oh, and you can donate lemons. So what is the difference between a lemon and a Lino coin? Is that just a lemon is just one Lino coin? Is that how it works? Wrong ZH, thanks. Hope price goes up. Ace. Ace on YouTube says, Lucas, anytime you go to the bathroom, it's a loss. So there is that. Claridia says, the Fed can be patient meeting by meeting. And 4X Live on YouTube says that doesn't make sense. Okay, so one lemon represents one Lino coin. Okay. Why don't they just say you're donating one Lino coin? I guess. Okay. So if you donate 10,000 Lino coins, it's a Ninjet. Oh man, I'm laughing too much. That must mean that I've just been in this trade for way too long. Oh man, guys. Man, how do you type so fast? I don't know. So you gotta understand. I don't know how old you guys are. Most of my audience is generally my age. Like based on the YouTube stats, most of us are between 26 and 40. Like the vast majority of our audience. Wow, you gave 2 Ninjets away yesterday. Wow. How much? Wow, thank you, Fernando. Seth is the first person I've donated to. Well, thank you so much. I've definitely got to see the issue is I don't want to like I need to investigate more about D Live, but I just haven't had the time to like really sit down and like really look at it when I've come home because I've just been trying to like de-stress, you know. And during trading, it's a bad time to look at it. But I'll definitely look back at it so that we want to get like an economy going, people passing Lino coins back and forth. Because as I was saying earlier with the indicator, use matters. Like actual transactions on the blockchain matters because that's base activity that holds price. So you need that. Anyway, Henry Nestor says he's 45. There you go. Well, so anyways, what I was going to say is you're talking to somebody that like when I was like 12 or whatever, my dad had like AOL, like the first internet. And then we had internet in our school and I had it at home, like a 56K modem since, like I want to say 1995. So you're talking to somebody that's been like shit posting and arguing with people on the internet since he was 14. And I'm 33 now. So, yeah, I've typed a lot in my day. And I think when I was like doing IRC and I was like really furious typer, I could get up to 100 words per minute. So I'm a pretty fast typer. I remember back in the day, though, I had a friend in one of our community forums because we had this little thing that would count how much you type, and it was like a leaderboard and stuff. And oh my gosh, that guy freaking typed. He was one of the people that wrote V Bulletin. Man, and he was fast too. Never used to think of it like that. I'm guilty of being a holder. Yeah, see, now holding is not necessarily bad, right? Like the thing is that to get a really good profit, the longer you hold something, the better chance you have of getting a really, really big profit, right? And so there's really good things about that. Digital Meal, thank you very much for the follow. But in terms of like what actually is driving the price action, it's people buying and selling. So if people if there's a reason to use the coin, like if I can actually buy something useful with the coin, then that gives me a reason to buy it so that I can buy that thing that I want, right? That creates more people out on the exchanges trying to buy the coin, and it moves the price of the coin up in general. Like you just think about the overall, what is the balance between buyers and sellers, right? Well, more people using the coin means more buyers out there in the market in general, right? 50K spread across 100 streamers. Yeah, it was a lot of money. Like the way that they're doing this in D Live, I think is super, super smart. And then just the fact that they got, the people behind it and everything is like amazing. I think that the coin has a good future, but part of the reason it has a good future is because the streaming platform, which I think is a pretty good platform, creates activity on the chain. So it creates a reason for people to buy it. You know what I mean? Yeah, D Live is impressive. I think so. But, so holding is a good thing, but it doesn't help the price of Bitcoin like people think. They think, well, if I just buy it and never sell, then that's less sellers out there. And so the price should go up for us. That doesn't work that way. Why was anybody going to buy a coin that nobody uses? Watching your face when you type is serious thinking going on. I think when I'm sorry, I just had like a kind of like a brain interruption there. Okay, so it's 8 o'clock. Yeah. Okay. I think that in general, one of the problems that I have is that I'm too serious though. Like that's the funny thing. You might not see it today because we're laughing and everything, but usually I'm too serious. So like I post these videos on YouTube about like we're following the Democrat primary, and I kind of do the pundit thing about the Democrat primary to see who's going to win. And but it's very dry and factual and not, you know, I think that some people like that, and I think that's why the people that are watching it watch it. But sometimes I just need to learn to relax and not take things so seriously. Cardano is white paper used for wiping your ass. Oh, I don't know. The only reason I like Cardano, I guess we're not talking. I got Cardano and Stellar mixed up. I don't remember. I'm familiar with Cardano, but I don't remember. I don't remember a whole lot about it. Might be one to like go back and rewatch. Ace Trades, the robe I'm wearing is 45 G's, dude. Yeah, that's ADHD serious. We're serious yet funny at the same time. Yeah, it really is. Well, it's just like as I understand it. Hold on, let me get all my stuff back up in here. There you go. See, that's how much of a delay there is. It just that comment just now showed up. Anyways, the thing with ADHD is like the difficulty in controlling emotions and executive functioning, right? So most people can sit down and say, okay, I need to be serious right now, or now is the time to have fun. Person with ADHD that is like way too caught up in the moment to exert that kind of control, you know? You're the least hyped up person I've heard talking cryptos. This isn't a bad thing. I appreciate that. I used to work at a financial firm, and it seems like everybody is serious there. Yeah, I need to tell you, man, I have two thoughts here I want to share. No, I'm gonna just talk about the crypto thing first. Yeah, I think the thing that's unique about me and cryptos is that most people in cryptocurrencies think that Bitcoin is going to replace the dollar and we're going to the moon, and I don't see it that way. I see Bitcoin as cryptocurrencies overall are definitely a good investment, and I think that there's a lot of potential there, but I don't think that it can replace fiat, because if you base your economy on it, what do you do when it falls? It would be like the Great Depression every other year. Right. And so that gives me a little bit of an opinion that you don't hear a lot in cryptocurrencies, because I'm not what you would call like a true believer, right? I'm just here to make money, I guess. And I understand trading in markets because we trade treasuries, right? So yeah, I guess that's maybe why I'm not like hyped up. But I'm always sitting here like, it's so frustrating, guys, sometimes, because like I have this indicator. Definitely check out the Patreon, because even if you don't donate the $5 a month to the Patreon, you can still look at last week's chart and see what it is and come in and check in every once in a while. And I think you'll find it really, really useful, right? Great Depression sounds like the purge. But, you know, I'm trying to share this information and try and prove to people that like this is the way that it works, so that Bitcoin can become more stable, because that's what the end result of this should be, is that people say, oh, okay, it's overbought here, it's oversold here, the price movement isn't going to be as much, so the stability is going to come in. So even though perhaps for me, if I'm trying to catch these big swings, I can't get as big of a swing. If it makes Bitcoin more stable, that makes Bitcoin more useful, and therefore much more valuable in the long run. And so for me, that's the trade, right? So we make Bitcoin more useful, and I make way more money from it doing it that way, right? But man, it's so frustrating to me sometimes, because you go and you post to people and say, hey, it's overbought here. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. And they just kind of ignore you. I'm sure that when this thing finally bottoms and the indicator says buy, and we've caught a good amount of profit underneath of us, and we're in the next crypto run, I'm sure there will be, you know, hundreds of people that all of a sudden will be saying, oh yeah, Seth, he called the bottom and he's really good and all of this stuff. And then when I say sell, they'll all be like, nah, he's crazy. because nobody ever wants to hear that it's going to go down, right? Okay, so then the other thing was, I used to work at a financial firm, and it seems like everyone is serious there. Totally. Like when I worked at Goldman Sachs, I got to tell you, there are smart people at Goldman Sachs. They really do know how to recruit some of the best. And, you know, I people generally tend to tell me that I'm a smart person. I don't know where I would fit on an IQ. I should maybe go and take an IQ test. I want to test my stepson because he's reading at like a college level at like 12. So I kind of want to see where he's at so that we can adjust his education accordingly. But I would guess, though, that partly because of the ADHD, that I probably would just kind of score just kind of okay. You know, I would think that I would be pretty average. But some of those people at Goldman Sachs are just so brilliant. And it actually can be kind of intimidating. And it definitely creates this feeling that, you know, like, well, and not only that, but they're really good at creating the culture and like getting you involved in the company's success and everything like that. So there's always this feeling that like, I've got to be serious and be doing my best and trying my hardest, you know? And for me, a lot of what I was doing was like creating tools that they use to test the trading systems, or trading systems that would like prevent large losses. So like if a trader was going rogue, it would catch them, or if a robot was going rogue, it would cut them off. That was the sort of thing that we were doing. And so to us, it was like very serious. It was like, hey, you know what? Like we're making the markets safer doing what we're doing. And it was very serious business, for sure. Probably too serious sometimes. And maybe there were some times where I took it too seriously, and maybe I would have done better if I just relaxed a little bit looking back on it. But it's okay, because I think that leaving was really what I needed to do. Okay. So the E-mini still has not broken out at the top here, but we did move back down. And we're kind of doing this zipper thing one tick above the low. So I'm thinking that especially now that there's 2,000 have traded there, I think that I have to take it off at +4. It's a little disappointing to hold it for 90 minutes and only get 4 ticks off of it, but I'm not going to complain about taking a winner, right? Digital Meal donated a lemon. Thank you very much, guys. I want to get this to be like we're just handing out lino left and right, because I really like this. I just like that it's like stream based, like it's an independent streaming platform. I'm really concerned about while I understand why YouTube and other platforms have to do what they do, I'm really concerned about people trying to control what you do or do not see out there. And so I really like the idea of DLive, and I like that it's backed by the cryptocurrency, and I like the way that they're doing it. And so I really want to be involved in creating an economy for this thing, you know? Seth, we live once happy is better than Goldman Sachs. Yeah. Well, I don't want to give the impression that like I was unhappy when I was working there. There was some times when it was a little stressful. There are some times at my job that things get a little stressful, right? So my job now, my job is basically to call everybody out on shit, and people don't like that, right? So that's a little stressful sometimes. But it had to happen because you can't trade futures when you work for Goldman. You just can't. And I enjoy doing this so much. Tom Taylor just followed. Thank you very much. I really enjoy doing this. I think, although we've been really super quiet in Discord today, maybe partly because we're chatting here. I don't like that, but I think I still get filled. But we've created such a great community here, you know, and it's small. It should be small because honestly, there shouldn't be like a huge mass thousands of people interested in trading. Like seriously, we just sat in a trade for 90 minutes and made $60. Like that's not super exciting. And a lot of the talk that we do is like, you know, financial, analytical, personal progress sort of things, you know. That's not nearly as interesting as, you know, whatever the top game is right now. So it's always going to be small, but like we've created such a dedicated, like it's the same guys every day. So we see Ace every day. We see Alligator in Discord every day. Yeah, assets need to be swapped or shared to be relevant. Exactly. And right now it's, you know, it's not super expensive to get a bunch of it, you know. So we should be throwing it around, basically. So the more that we do that, the more that we can all accumulate, and the more it's going to be worth in the long run. So totally, yeah. See, I might get filled here. It's still being kind of slow. I think that I can get a fill. I think that there's a possibility that we break that low. I bet you're happier now. Yeah, I think so. You know, the thing is at the time I went through a bunch of stuff, right? Because about a year before I left Goldman Sachs, was when I got divorced. And, you know, I was pretty happy in my last marriage. I didn't really feel like anything was wrong. But she was impulsive. So really things were good. And then she did, you know, she decided just willy-nilly that she wanted to leave, and then, you know, eventually ended up regretting it. But that was how that happened. But then like there's some qualities about my second wife that work so much better for me. So, you know, like the whole thing is just, I think, better. I'm definitely happier, and we have like a nice house now, and you know, like I've got a pretty good setup and everything. Like, I'm pretty happy. I'm unhappy that I did not get filled there at 19. I'm really hoping that they tick back down into me there. Okay, how do you feel about XRP? I have mixed feelings about XRP. I think that when we bottom out here in Bitcoin, or if my indicator gives me another buy, that XRP will probably be among the investments, because when we have moves up, XRP is just like, has amazing moves up. But I can't really see the transaction data in XRP the way that I can some of the other cryptocurrencies, and so I don't see like exactly what it should be valued at. But when I look at the moves, they too many of the moves look like you know, some whale doing something, you know. And so I'm suspect that XRP is maybe a little bit manipulated. But because it has businesses using it, I just don't think you can ignore it. So I do think that I would invest in it. E-mini did move down there a little bit. It sucks. I definitely saw the spot, but I think I was a little bit late. I think it's worth waiting here, though. I've been this patient. If I only end up taking +2 or even +1 on the day, I'm not going to be depressed about it or anything. It's all about finding your comfort zone. It helps you work better. Yeah. Well, you know, I'm 33. I'm getting more into like your stride of your life, I guess you could say. Things aren't perfect. I tried to get grass in my yard last year, and the guy didn't do it, and so that's been a really big problem. If that had not have happened, I would be in a much better spot. But Yep. Anyways, so I still have to do I put so much manual labor into that yard, man. I just want it to be done. Okay, so we did get the downtick. Nobody's traded it into 19 yet. And the kids are suspiciously quiet. Normally there's a lot of background noise, and the birds are usually like screaming super loud. So as soon as this is filled, I better walk out there and see what they're doing. Well, that, and we'll post the cryptocurrency notes. So let's go to Patreon here. And let's, I don't need this anymore. Oh, now I can hear them. And generate the charts. Should get a new value today, so I'm excited to see what it says. $157, but that was at 51.97. So, but it did move down a little bit. So we did pick up some blockchain activity. So that's good. Okay, so how much money have you made trading crypto? So like my whole involvement in cryptocurrencies, I'm first in line. Come on. Well, I'm probably going to get filled, but still. So I didn't put any like money directly into it. Like everything that I made was from mining and everything. And I kind of got involved after the huge run up. Okay. So all of that said, I have about $1,400. So it's not like amazing or anything, but it's pretty good considering that came from nothing. You know what I mean? Okay, I did get filled. Well, it is not normal for me to sit in a trade for 90 minutes, but hey, if it works, it works. Okay, so I'm going to type a couple of things here and I'm going to go mute. But if you guys have like bigger questions about what you're seeing here, I have like 10 minutes to talk about it. So now is like a really good time to ask. How long have you been trading? So I've been doing this, like trading Treasury futures for about, I'm getting into my third year. So like I started the October before the election, I think it was. Will also need to feed in. Sometimes we win. It's their splash. Yeah. Well, I gotta say, the move up that we had in Bitcoin this month is really something else. I would really thought that the cryptocurrencies were going to give it up there at 4,000 because they were already really overbought. And you know, when it bought in, and the number of people that kind of perked up and bought into it was really something else. I have to admit. Now it's still overbought, but when we had the big crash, I thought, you know, maybe this really could be the end of Bitcoin. And the only reason I thought that was because they just wouldn't increase the block size, and it made it so that you couldn't use it really up there at the top. And I think that really scared a lot of people. And so I thought, well, maybe it's going to be different next time. But now that we're getting close to the bottom, and I can see the number of people that still get interested when we actually do move up, it's really impressive. And so I think that cryptocurrencies overall have a bright future. And I think that this, in a similar vein, I think that this platform has a great future. We actually have as many people watching on DLive today as we do on YouTube. and that's unusual. Like I've had the same steady group of followers for the past year. I think it's almost always 12 to 2 dozen people. Of course, not everybody listens every day. I wouldn't expect that because a lot of it is like, okay, you get interested in trading, you talk to me, I kind of tell you the things that you got to know to get started, and then you go off and do your own thing. And sometimes you don't want to listen to me yap all day, which is totally cool. And I like the idea that like some people, they could go out and they could try streaming it too. Although I have to warn you, streaming this is like you have to be a little bit crazy to do it. Anyways, but so to have that many people on DLive, I think is really super positive. This is a good platform, I think, to be discovered on, and that's a real problem on Twitch right now. So that's cool. Okay, so yeah, keep your questions. We got about 10 minutes before I'm going to have to shut the stream down. So now is a good time to ask any of those questions before we go. And we will be back tomorrow. I'm here every morning between about 8:15 and 10:30 Eastern time. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. 18 people. Like, wow, I'm just like, I'm really impressed. Thank you guys. What was this? Henry Nasser on YouTube. I just got a deal in cafe in a very high-end suburb in Sydney for free. The guy had for sale 100K. I negotiated him down to 40 and then 20. The catch is the rent is 100K next year. That does sound like a good deal. So you live in Australia then, huh? So I've got a lot of friends. There is a lot of traders in Australia. I've been quite surprised at how many there are. Yes, and thank you, Scotty Bear, for the follow. Okay, so I need to type here. So ask your questions, and then I'll get back to them when I'm done posting the Patreon post. Okay, so we got that posted. Henry Nasser says, "Yep, that's interesting." So what are you going to do with this space? You starting a business with it? Okay, so we don't need that. So the Patreon notes are posted for subscribers. No, we don't really need crypto watch up there. Check here. And Relax just followed as well. Thank you very much. Yeah, we actually had for a moment there we had 18 followers. I'm just super impressed with this platform. I don't know. It's to me, it's always funny when I see. So I've had a couple of periods. So like one of the things was the first time that I ever streamed was the day that the futures went live, and we had like 4,000 people watching, which was just insane. But I always say to my guys, like, if there's too many people watching, it's probably not a good thing, because if there's that many people that are interested in futures, maybe the market is close to a top. You know what I'm saying? So, but a couple dozen is cool. A couple thousand, maybe that's a little bit too much. But this platform, it's big on cryptocurrencies and stuff, and we have a lot of good, important information that we can share. So, well, I think I really lucked out there being able to take the price that I did and having it move back up. So I made the right choice. Maybe I could have taken this twice today, but I don't know if I had taken the profit the first time, if I would have been able to keep it. So it's a very unusual trading for me today. Alligator in Discord. Super slow in the EU session too. Don't know what they're waiting for. Is it spring break in the US? Man, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird trading, but this might be what I have to do a lot here in the summer. And it's going to be even harder because that one, there was a news-based trade, and that was the main reason I took it. Some of these other spots are going to be like counter trend trades. This is going to be much harder trading in the future. Just warning you. When I did this last year, I had a really awful run. So, all right. Well, so it is time for me to go. Thank you guys all for watching. As always, we're here every morning, 8:15 Eastern time. Check out the Patreon. If you want to chat with me in between streaming, the Discord is quite active, although it's super quiet today. But we have a really, really great community on Discord, and there's so much resources and stuff. So if you're interested in trying to trade and everything like that, that's the first place that I would check. It's a great resource. And we have the Patreon if you want to see those charts to see where Bitcoin value is. And the YouTube channel and everything. So check that out. I think I covered everything for you guys that are new if you wanted to learn more. And again, thank you guys all for watching and for the follows, and I will catch you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends.